Hey girl, welcome back to the channel. Chenyang here, and in this video we're going to talk about one of the most commonly asked questions I get, which is how much protein should you be having in order to lose fat? I think there's a lot of confusion on this, so we're going to go through all of it. I swear protein is one of those things where when you're just starting your fitness journey, you hear everyone talking about it, right? They tell you need to have more protein this, protein that, high protein snacks, right? But no one really tells you exactly how much protein do you actually need, and does protein actually help you lose fat, or is it just this like buzzword, right? So we're gonna unpack all that in this video. Now, if you're new here, my name's Chenyang, and I've helped thousands of Asian women now all around the world get in their best shape without sacrificing the foods they love, without spending hours at the gym. And if you're not new here, then welcome back to this channel. So first off, let's actually talk about why protein matters. Like, what does protein actually do for us? Here's the deal. If your goal is fat loss, not just weight loss, right? So there's a difference. Fat loss in terms of just losing fat. Weight loss is a combination of all these different things, right? And it's just really a number on the scale. If your ultimate goal is fat loss, ladies, then what you want to be doing is you want to be losing body fat, right? But maintaining your muscle mass. And the best way to maintain your muscle mass is to be weight training, but also to be eating enough protein. Protein is going to save your muscles. Now, when you eat fewer calories in order for your body to lose weight and lose body fat, that can come from both body fat and muscle mass, right? But what we want to make sure of is that we really protect that muscle mass, because muscle is going to help you with your metabolism. Now, what I mean by that is when you have more muscle mass, you will naturally burn more calories just at rest. So you could be lying there doing literally nothing, just being a lazy ass, right? And your body would burn more calories if it had more muscle mass. So essentially, it's a lot easier for someone to keep that body fat off when they naturally have more muscle. So they can kind of get away with being a little bit lazier. Now, you may have noticed this yourself, maybe when you've been on a weight loss journey and the scale has moved, it's dropped, but you look in the mirror when you're naked and you're like, I still look the same. I still feel like I have like flour on my stomach, around my arms. I still don't look toned. There's no definition. There's no shape. My glutes aren't popping. My legs aren't popping. Like, what's going on, right? And ultimately, that's because, well, the number on the scales dropped because you've most likely lost muscle mass, and that's probably because of two things. Number one, you have not been weight training consistently and properly. Number two, you've been eating less, but part of that is also less protein. Now, let's break down how exactly protein helps with fat loss, right? So number one, protein is going to help you feel fuller for longer. Let's be honest, girls. Part of the reason why dieting can be hard and fat loss can be hard is because you get hungry. And as soon as you get hungry, you start thinking about all the food that you want to be eating, right? Now, let's go over how exactly protein can help with fat loss. So number one, protein helps you feel fuller for longer. Now, let's be honest, ladies, the hardest part about fat loss and dieting is, number one, when you get hungry, you start thinking about all the foods you want to be eating, right? The ramen, the dumplings, the pizza, oh my God, the ice cream, the bread, the rice, that extra bowl of rice, right? When you're hungry, it's a lot harder to stay on track. So if you are eating enough protein and you're nourishing your body properly, what's going to happen is it's going to be so much easier to stick to your fat loss journey because you're not getting those hunger pangs, right? You're not getting that temptation to eat more because you are satisfied and you are full. And protein is going to help you with that because protein slows down digestion, right? And it's going to keep you feeling fuller for longer. Number two is, as I have mentioned, protein protects muscle mass. Now, when you are in a calorie deficit, when you eat protein, ultimately it tells your body, hey, don't touch my muscle and go and just burn body fat. And finally, number three is protein, in terms of digesting protein, actually burns more calories. So when you're eating protein, when your body's trying to digest it, it's going to burn a lot more calories than when it's trying to digest, let's say, carbohydrates or fats. Now, obviously this isn't substantial. It doesn't mean that you can like substitute, I don't know, cardio for just eating protein, but relatively speaking, you burn more calories when you are trying to digest protein. So eating enough protein literally keeps your metabolism nice and high and healthy, and also helps you burn more calories in the long run. Now, the second question, which I know you're thinking this right now, is, well, like, how much protein do I need though, right? You certainly do not need to be having several protein shakes a day and living off protein bars, okay? What I would say is I would recommend around 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of lean body weight. Now, let's say you weigh around 160 pounds. That means you would aim to have at at least 130 to 160 grams of protein per day. However, there is a caveat to this. Let's say you are quite overweight and there's a lot of body fat that you like to lose. Let's say you want to lose around 50 pounds and you currently weigh 200 pounds. What I would recommend and what I would do is I would take that goal weight of 150 pounds where it's more of a lean body mass weight and take that in terms of how many grams of protein you're going to have. This is because the amount of grams of protein that you're supposed to be having is based off your lean body weight. Now, if you are carrying excess body weight, then obviously a lot of that isn't lean, a lot of it's just body fat, and that's why it's a lot more accurate for you to actually take your goal weight rather than the current weight that you're sitting at, because let's be honest, 200 grams of protein is way too much. If the number that you've come up with based on your current lean body weight sounds a bit daunting, maybe sounds a bit too much, break it down into several meals, right? Thinking about 160 or 130 grams of protein can be a lot, but if you were to break it down into 3 meals and snacks, where let's say each meal is 30 to 40 grams of protein, that easily allows you to hit your protein target throughout the day. And again, you don't have to hit it every single day, right? Just try your best, try to be consistent, but yeah, you may have some days where it's a bit lower, some days where it's a bit higher, but what matters is what you're doing throughout the week on a more consistent basis. Now look, protein does not have to mean protein powder. It does not have to mean just cottage cheese and chicken breast on repeat, okay? There are so many sources of protein that you can have, and the best way to do it, and what I recommend to my clients, is literally just mix and match and have fun with it, right? Have fun with your meals, add variety if you enjoy that, because that's really the only way where you're gonna make this a, lifestyle where you're actually going to enjoy it for the long run. Because for most of us, I don't think we really think of our ideal life as having chicken breasts every single day for the rest of our life, right? Maybe you love that. Personally, no. So different other varieties of protein that you could have is, let's say, I don't know, like beef, steak, fish, different varieties of seafood, right? Obviously chicken thighs, chicken breasts, all these different things. Tempeh, tofu if you are vegetarian or vegan, right? Even things like, like Greek yogurt, maybe a protein bar if you enjoy something sweet, right? So mix and match, like really change things up, because you're going to actually enjoy the process a lot more than just telling yourself that you are just going to eat chicken salads every single day. Now, an example of, let's say, a fat loss meal plan for your day could look like this. And let's say your goal is, 140 grams of protein for this day, right? So breakfast could be 2 eggs and then 1 cup of Greek yogurt. That will allow you to hit around 30 to 35 grams of protein. Now, if you're going for yogurt, try to go for like the fat-free type or the low-fat type. Now, lunch could be fish, like a fish salad, right? With maybe chickpeas. That's another great protein source. Or it could be like a chicken salad with chickpeas. Change things up. For dinner, it could be, let's say, a steak of salmon with some, steamed veggies, right? Or you could substitute that for a steak with veggies. Again, like play around with things, but that will likely be around 40 to 50 grams of protein. Now, in your day, you could also add a snack. So maybe a protein bar, which, they usually range from, let's say, 15 to 25 grams of protein. Now, if you break that down, you'll realize that it's actually not that hard to hit 140 grams of protein. You just have to be intentional and you have to start your day off right. If you start your breakfast off with like absolutely no protein, or 1 egg, it's going to make it a lot harder during your day to catch up with your protein, right? So always make sure you give yourself a head start by having a protein-rich breakfast. Now, one of the ladies inside our Aspire coaching program, she actually came to us barely eating 50 grams of protein, and she thought she was eating a lot of protein. But I think when you don't have anything to compare yourself to, and when you don't actually know what, let's say, 30 grams of protein looks like in a meal, you can very much think that 2 eggs is enough protein for your breakfast, right? But it really isn't. Now, she was barely eating 50 grams of protein, and she was struggling with a lot of like fatigue, tiredness, a lack of strength. She really couldn't recover from her workouts, and she also just was not toning up or was not losing the body fat she wanted to. Now, upon joining, the first thing we did with her was actually just teach her more about nutrition, actually get her to understand what protein sources are good for her, what 30 grams or 40 grams of protein looks like in a meal. And just by simply upping her protein intake to 130 grams, please don't copy this. This is based on her body and her lean body mass and everything that we've looked at. But just simply by increasing her protein intake, she was able to feel fuller for longer, had more energy, no more of those like energy crashes, no more blood sugar spikes. And she was also able to lose so much weight in a very short period of time without really actually having to make many other dramatic changes in her life. And that simply was just from actually managing her nutrition better, right? So nutrition really does make such a big role in your journey, and especially your protein intake. Now, we've gone through what to do, right? Now let's go through what not to do on your fat loss journey, and I guess, what not to do with your nutrition. Now, the first thing is, and it's based off like what I've seen with a lot of women, is don't dramatically cut your calorie intake. What will happen is, yes, you will lose weight, but you will also lose muscle. Number 2 is, just because you're now on this like high protein diet, don't automatically assume that like carbs are bad for you, right? And don't just eat protein. Like, don't go to the other extreme where you're like, I'm not going to eat anything that does not have protein in it. Like, I'm literally just going to eat protein 24/7, because number 1, your digestion and your gut health is going to hate you. You're most likely going to be bloated, right? And you simply don't need extreme amounts of protein. Like, if your goal is 130 grams, you do not need to be having 160, 170, or 200 grams of protein. Like, that is just kind of stupid. And finally is, don't stress to be perfect, okay? Like, your protein intake does not have to be like your second personality. It's important to hit your protein intake, okay? And try to be consistent over a long period of time, but don't try to become a perfectionist. Some days you'll be a little bit over, some days you may be a little bit under, right? But as long as that intention is there, that's what matters most. Now, if the things that I've spoken about in this video resonated, and perhaps this is something you're struggling with, just understanding how much protein to actually have, how to balance out your meals to, really make your fat loss journey easier, how to, learn more about nutrition, how to really build your fitness journey out into a lifestyle, then that's exactly what I help all our women with inside the Aspire coaching program. So if that's something you're interested in, if you want to learn some more information, I do have a link below. You can book in a free consult call or just give me a message on Instagram and we can chat further. So to wrap this up, if fat loss is your goal, protein is super important. However, you don't have to change everything overnight. You don't have to suddenly change your diet overnight. Even just, let's say, making some adjustments to your breakfast, having a more high protein breakfast, or let's say making some smart swaps with your snacks is an amazing start. The goal really here is not to be perfect, and this is something I say to our clients. The goal is not perfection. The goal is literally just to be 1% better every single day. Like, just do one thing better today than you did yesterday, and you are already ahead of the game. And also remember, on this fat loss journey, it is not just about losing fat, right? It is about feeling better in yourself, right? Fueling your body properly. Like, it's self-care, it's self-love, it's actually taking good care of yourself, not just restricting yourself in order to lose fat. So yeah, I hope that this was helpful, and if it was, make sure you subscribe so that you don't ever miss another upload, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!